Welcome back to Rapture Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get ready for another story you won't forget. Let's dive back to the story. Alexander Sinclair sat alone in an upscale Mayfair restaurant, his posture perfect, his gray eyes scanning the menu without really reading it. The hum of expensive conversation surrounded him, yet he remained detached, wrapped in the cocoon of his reputation. That's when a small voice pierced the bubble. "Sir, please. Marry my mum," said a tiny girl clutching a stuffed rabbit. Lily Hay's earnest eyes glistened with tears, unflinching in her plea. Alexander's initial amusement faded as he realized her sincerity. He studied her face, the courage in her voice, and an unexpected warmth stirred within him, something long buried beneath years of calculated distance. Without fully understanding why, Alexander followed Lily to their modest home in the city. The apartment was dim and cramped, the faint smell of medicine in the air. Charlotte Hayes lay on the couch, shivering under a thin blanket, fever painting her cheeks pink. She shot him a sharp glare, mistaking his concern for intrusion, yet he ignored her protests. Alexander arranged for her immediate medical care, calling in favors at a private hospital and covering every expense. The young girl watched in awe, whispering thanks between fevered coughs, as Alexander's presence became a strange mixture of comfort and disruption. Charlotte recovered slowly, her pride clashing with gratitude. Alexander, refusing to leave, began integrating himself into their lives. He hired a cleaner, stocked their cupboards, and even attempted cooking, with comical results that left the kitchen in disarray. Despite herself, Charlotte found herself laughing at his clumsy efforts. The ice around Alexander's heart cracked further with every shared meal, every small gesture of care. Lily's laughter and chatter filled the apartment, a contagious energy that began to dissolve the cold barrier he had built against intimacy and vulnerability. One rainy evening, Alexander sat with Charlotte on the sofa, sipping tea in awkward silence. Charlotte recounted the struggles she faced as a single mother, her late husband's depression and sudden death leaving wounds she hadn't shared with anyone. Her voice wavered, yet there was defiance beneath it, a strength that Alexander couldn't ignore. For the first time, he felt a pang of something dangerous, emotion. He wanted to protect her, to ease the burdens that weighed her down, but he also feared the intensity of his own feelings. This was not a business deal or a calculated investment. This was real, messy, human connection. Lily continued to weave herself into Alexander's life, her small presence demanding care, attention, and affection. Alexander found himself reading bedtime stories, teaching Lily words he never used in boardrooms, and listening to the tiny details of her day with genuine interest. Charlotte observed him, noticing how he softened in the presence of her daughter. The ice prince was cracking, his carefully constructed walls melting in ways she could never have predicted. Yet, Charlotte remained cautious, wary of allowing someone with so much power into their fragile world. The calm was shattered when Margaret and Thomas Hastings arrived in London. The grandparents of Edward, Lily's late father, demanded custody of Lily, citing Charlotte's recent hospitalization and Alexander's involvement as proof of instability. Charlotte felt cornered, powerless against their wealth and influence. Alexander, witnessing her distress, grew protective, his business instincts merging with personal devotion. He strategized, gathering legal advice and financial leverage to counter the Hastings, refusing to let fear dictate their lives. His calm, calculated demeanor returned, but now fueled by personal stakes rather than corporate ambition. The legal battle was tense, filled with accusation, threats, and courtroom drama. Charlotte's resilience shone through, but Alexander's presence was a stabilizing force. He defended them not only with money and influence, but with unwavering commitment, making it clear that no one would undermine their family. Lily clung to both adults, sensing the gravity of the situation, yet comforted by their solidarity. Through long nights and challenging days, a bond between the trio solidified, built on trust, care, and shared struggle. After the Hastings were defeated, peace returned, yet both Charlotte and Alexander grappled with vulnerability. Alexander admitted to himself that the chaos of their lives frightened him, the way Charlotte's laughter and Lily's innocence could dismantle his careful detachment. Charlotte, 2. Acknowledge the confusing mix of anger, admiration, and affection she felt toward Alexander. They shared quiet moments where words were unnecessary, yet emotions ran deep. Their lives were intertwined, not by obligation, but by choice, forged through trials and tender care. Alexander's transformation became evident in small, intimate gestures. He cooked breakfast with Lily, guided Charlotte through managing household finances, and even decorated the apartment for a modest Christmas, refusing lavish displays. Their days were filled with ordinary moments that carried extraordinary meaning. Charlotte saw a man who could be tender, flawed, and vulnerable, a man who didn't hide behind wealth or power. Alexander, in turn, discovered a life rich in love, chaos, and human connection, something his fortune could never buy. One evening, under the soft glow of their living room lights, Alexander confessed to Charlotte. "You and Lily scare me," he admitted, voice low but steady, "because you make me feel things I've spent a lifetime locking away. I can't promise a perfect life, but I promise an honest one, with all its mess, its laughter, and its love." Charlotte, touched and overwhelmed, finally let down her guard. She embraced him, understanding that love wasn't about affection or wealth. It was about presence, care, and choosing each other every day. The trio settled into a rhythm, their bond deepening with every shared meal, conversation, and laughter. Alexander's presence became a constant reassurance, not a disruption. Charlotte realized that while her life had been lonely and challenging, it had brought her to the right people at the right time. Lily thrived, her innocence preserved yet enriched by Alexander's guidance and affection. The apartment, once a place of quiet struggle, now echoed with love, warmth, and stability, creating a sanctuary for their newly formed family. Alexander and Charlotte shared moments of quiet tenderness, sitting side by side on the sofa, hands intertwined, watching Lily play with her dolls. Their conversations shifted from practical matters to dreams, fears, and desires they had long buried. They discussed the past without judgment and the future without fear, learning that trust and vulnerability were the foundation of any enduring relationship. Every day brought small victories, from shared laughter to mutual understanding, cementing a bond neither wealth nor hardship could break. The arrival of spring brought new life and hope. Flowers bloomed around their modest garden courtyard, where they spent afternoons reading, laughing, and enjoying the sun. Lily often ran ahead, her joy contagious, while Alexander and Charlotte followed, arms linked, exchanging knowing smiles. Their love was quiet but powerful, a steady current beneath the surface of daily life. Friends and neighbors began to notice the change, seeing in Alexander a man transformed, and in Charlotte a woman empowered and loved. One evening, Alexander prepared a simple dinner, a far cry from his usual executive meals. Charlotte watched, amused, as he fumbled with pots and pans, yet he worked with determination, his focus unwavering. Lily giggled, offering tips and encouragement, while Charlotte's heart swelled with affection. It was in these ordinary, imperfect moments that their bond solidified. Wealth, status, and reputation faded in importance, replaced by shared laughter, care, and the sense of belonging they had built together. As summer approached, the trio planned their intimate wedding. It was to be a small affair in the garden courtyard, adorned with wildflowers and simple decorations. No grandeur, no extravagant displays, just love, presence, and commitment. Lily wrote a note for the ceremony, expressing her belief in their union and her love for them both. Alexander read it aloud, his voice steady but thick with emotion, and Charlotte felt a profound sense of completion and peace. The wedding day arrived, warm and sunlit. Neighbors and a few close friends gathered, witnessing a union that had been forged through trials, tenderness, and unwavering support. Alexander and Charlotte exchanged vows, promising not perfection, but honesty, devotion, and shared life. Lily stood between them, beaming, her small hand in each of theirs, the embodiment of their love and resilience. The simplicity of the day highlighted the authenticity of their bond. After the ceremony, they danced under the stars in the courtyard, laughter mixing with soft music and the gentle night breeze. Alexander twirled Charlotte, careful not to step on her toes, while Lily giggled and joined in with her childlike enthusiasm. The moment was perfect not because it was grand, but because it was theirs, messy, warm, intimate, and filled with unspoken promises of a shared future. As months passed, Life settled into a rhythm, filled with school runs, board meetings, and quiet evenings at home. Alexander had shed much of his icy persona, embracing the unpredictability of family life. Charlotte found joy in small victories, shared tasks, and the presence of a man who loved them without conditions. Lily continued to grow, her world enriched by stability, laughter, and unconditional love. Their lives were intertwined not by circumstance, but by choice, and the lessons of trust, patience, and compassion became a foundation of their days. Alexander reflected one evening on how a small child's plea had changed the trajectory of his life. Lily's courage had awakened emotions he thought dormant, while Charlotte's resilience had taught him humility and devotion. Their love was not born of convenience or wealth, but of authenticity, trials, and tender care. The one solitary CO had found a home, not in buildings or bank accounts, but in the warmth and chaos of human connection. Charlotte looked at Alexander as they tucked Lily into bed, noticing the gentleness in his touch and the patience in his eyes. For the first time in years, she felt truly seen, respected, and cherished. They exchanged a quiet smile, knowing that life would continue to bring challenges, but together they built a fortress of love and understanding that no external force could dismantle. Evenings became their sacred time, moments of quiet reflection, whispered conversations, and shared dreams. Alexander and Charlotte often sat together, watching Lily sleep peacefully, their hands entwined, hearts connected in a bond deeper than either had imagined possible. They had found in each other the balance of strength and vulnerability, creating a love that was both real and enduring. The story concluded not with grandeur or wealth, but with simple joy and intimate celebration. Alexander, Charlotte, and Lily embraced life's imperfections, understanding that happiness was found in presence, commitment, and shared moments. They danced, laughed, and loved without reservation, proving that true wealth lies not in money, but in family, trust, and the courage to open one's heart. That's all for today. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.